Welcome to the final episode of the Byram Hills Blitz. I can't believe I'm saying that. I'm here with, of course, my co-pilot, Jesse Schmalholtz. Jesse, you ready to go with our last one?
Excited to get started.
So thank you to all the fans and supporters. Thank you.
Yeah, and also going off of that, just without you guys, we wouldn't have the confidence to keep going and keep updating what we do and changing what we do and making it innovative every time we do it. So thank you to the athletes. Thank you to the teachers, the mentors that have helped us along the way. Couldn't have done it without you.
So now our Zoom, our first ever more than 2 interviewee Zoom. We have actually 9 different athletes that all played spring sports. And we've taken all of these 9 athletes. They're not going to college to play sports. So we're giving them that voice that we want to hear. All of these athletes played their hearts out for the last 2 to 3 years, and now they don't get that senior year. And we've already highlighted those people going to college. And now we want to highlight those people that are not and that have actually played their final lacrosse game or final baseball game. So I hope you enjoy it. I thought it was awesome when we did it. Here we go. Interview 9 interviewees. Final Byram Hills Blitz.
Okay, whoever wants to jump in. The first question, what are your thoughts on just missing out on this season? What are your thoughts? How are you dealing with it? And how are you coping with the whole situation?
I mean, it's tough. I mean, we spend the whole off season. I'm sure it speaks for all of us, like getting ready for the season. To not have it, I mean, it's kind of tough. But I mean, especially I know for us as a team, and I'm sure Sam, you can attest to this. Is like the season is almost like we're kind of a family, and it's almost kind of time together. And it's a lot that we're missing out on, and so it's kind of something that I'll miss. And I'm going out of here senior year, going to college. But
yeah, bouncing off of that, it's just like sad. I mean, we've been playing for 3 years on the team, both me and both Gabe and I, and it's just difficult to put all that work in and then put in the work for this off season, and then to not actually be able to go and play tennis. And it's not really about like not playing the game, at least for me. It's more about like the team and not being able to be that senior leader that I could have been this year, that I looked forward to being for the last 3 years. So
yeah, I mean, kind of going off that, I know Nikki can kind of attest to this as well, but coming into softball, we kind of knew that we had a good team and like we were able to have our tryouts for like 3 days, and I think we got like 1 practice in, and we kind of felt ourselves kind of gelling together already in like that short period of time, even with the new girls and the incoming freshmen. And so not being able to kind of use that that bond that we made off the field on the field this season was definitely really tough.
I think also just like some of the events that like I know all of us have been looking forward to, whether you're on JV or freshman or whatever team you're on as like a freshman. I think like just I've always like looked forward to my senior night and like playing under the lights, and like it's just something that I've always like really wanted to do, and it just seems so fun to like have that whole game like dedicated to the seniors, and like the fact that we don't get that is like a little bit upsetting.
But I think the best way to cope with these hardships and difficult times is focusing on, first of all, positives, and second of all, next year. So what I mean by that is being able to improve yourself in any way possible, especially when you have time to yourself, especially when you have time in general, but also being able to focus on the team as a whole for upcoming years. So like being able to reach out to younger kids and make sure they're staying focused, or even if you can't do it, make sure that they can, because next year has to be that much better.
What would your message be to those younger teammates who have their senior year coming up or have multiple years?
For all of us, we didn't know that it would be our last time playing on a Byram Hills field or a court or the turf. So it was we kind of got that lack of closure at the end. So my advice for any underclassmen going forward is to just live in the moment and put your absolute best foot forward, because you're going to get the best results if you do so.
Yeah, so I know like, right, you're missing out on this season, but there's also a part of it where it's like you're overcoming a different level of adversity that not a lot of people have had to overcome in this way throughout their 4 years. I know, Cole, for example, you getting a big injury on your senior season and missing out on your football season senior year. Similar things to that. What lesson has that taught you, and how will you carry that throughout your life after high school into college?
As a leader and as a person, you have to just be very optimistic. You have to take all the positives from it. When I got hurt, it didn't really sink in until later, much later in the season, that was my last football game. Because when I got hurt, I tried my best to help the team. Our coach he gave us the opportunity, or gave me the opportunity, to actually coach my position. And so I got to have a new experience that I loved. And hopefully one day I think I can use that. And I want to be a coach one day because of that experience.
Yeah, and also for all the two-sport athletes that had like a fall season or winter season and now a spring, can you guys talk about like the difference between now and then and how maybe your feelings have differed?
What made ending tennis season easier was knowing that I had another season in the spring, because although the two sports are very different and the teams are very different, I knew that like my high school experience of being on a sports team wasn't over yet. So even though like my tennis team and that was over, I was excited for like what would come in the spring, and having that not be there was definitely like a letdown. And it's hard to think, I know it's difficult for me to think like, oh, I wish I knew, because last year I would have done things differently. So I just want everyone to know, like, to think that way every time you're doing something.
Just senior night in general is a huge thing. And I think our school does a really good job of making it very, very important to the seniors and really honoring the fact that these kids have played on a certain sport or multiple sports for 4 years, and it's their time to shine. And I've sat through 3 of them. I've helped plan 3 of them. And just seeing how happy it made the seniors honestly made me really happy. And I was obviously excited for ours, but just being able to experience it, kind of looking into it, was awesome.
All right, so those are all great answers. And the way that we've finished every interview for every Blitz we've done is, I know a few of you have done this, but what athlete do you look up to? Who do you emulate as an athlete, whether they play the same sport as you, whether they play a different sport as you?
I gotta say, I really look up to Shea Gordon, and the way that he's able to, like, seriously, when he was on the tennis team, every time that he went out there on the tennis court, he gave his 100%. He gave everything he had. And if he lost, even if it was a match that didn't matter, if we won 6-1 and he lost his match, he would be smashing his racket. He'd be really mad, and he wanted to win so badly every time he was out there. It's really something to look up to.
I choose Roger Federer, who is one of my favorite tennis players. He is my favorite tennis player. And I just really admire his hard work and determination in everything he does. It's not just the big matches where you see him putting in the effort. When he's playing anyone on the court, you can tell that he's really trying his best out there and putting all the work in. And I mean, for him, it usually is working out. And that just helps me with my game. And I just try and emulate what he's doing on the court and try and have that same drive that he has to try and win matches.
So for me, it would be Jenny Finch, and she's a professional softball player. She's retired now, but she does a lot with youth softball and running her own programs. So ever since I was younger, it was like her name, and everybody knew who she was and wanted to be her. So, yeah.
I would have to say somebody that I really look up to and I have for a while is Lindsay Grada. I've always played lacrosse with her ever since like I ever started playing. She's my neighbor. We used to pass all the time. We play together all the time, and we still do. And I think that she just has like such a crazy drive, and just like she just wants to win. Like she gets on the field and she just like pulls stuff out of nowhere, and it's just like crazy the way she played. And I just really look up to her.
So I could talk about someone who I've actually played with, and he's going to hate me for saying it, but I'm going to say it's Nick Pica. There was actually one funny story where it was either after a tough loss or after a rough practice, we all just wanted to get up into the locker room and then head home. And Nick was cleaning out the dugout excessively. He probably didn't need to, but he was excessively cleaning out the dugout. And Coach Saunders just like turned around and like flipped on the rest of us and saying like, Nick is the only one in there cleaning. He's the only one. You guys all need to be like him. And he was right. Like, that kind of got me by surprise. And the fact that he goes out there every day, he puts his best foot forward. and he does everything that's right for the program and for the other guys. He puts us first before him. It's really, really special to me, and I'll carry out the lessons I've learned from him going forward in my life.
Yeah, so I'm gonna have to go with someone who I've watched ever since I was little, David Wright. He was the third baseman for the Mets, and he was never named like an official captain because the Mets never had one. But he was definitely that person for the team, and he's the reason I started playing third base. And I actually had the privilege to meet him twice, and he's just so amazing on and off the field and the way he carries himself. And even though he had an injury and that's kind of what sidelined him for the end of his career, he still came out in the 2015 World Series and he hit a home run. And, he worked and worked just to get to that point. And so that's definitely someone I've always looked up to.
So I would definitely say Callie Hoffman. I was really, really excited to see Callie Hoffman lead all of us in lacrosse this year. I know since the moment she's been on the team, she's been a leader. Her hard work is literally unmatched. And although I'm a senior too, I was really excited for Callie to be my captain. And I know now, even though our season's canceled, she's still trying to do things to bring us together. And I think she has a very positive mind and she's very determined, and I think she'll do great things in the world.
It's definitely Nick, my high school role model. Everything he do is, there's so much work put into it. There's so much work that he does, and his drive, his motor, it just doesn't stop. And on the field with him, every time I look and I see the balls in his hands, I'm comfortable and I know that something good is about to happen.
So I'd like to say that my biggest role model is every single person I've played with or against. And as true as that is, sorry to annoy some people, but my biggest role model is sitting next to me. He got hurt, and it was the scariest day of my life. And you know what he did the next day? He led us in a prayer. That is the one type of loyalty I will never, ever be able to know, because only he can teach me that. There's not a teacher in this world who can teach me more than he has. This is the last Blitz, and I want to go last to say thank you to Teo and Jesse, because I don't know what the program's going to do without you next year, and I definitely don't know what we would have done without you. I think that I can literally speak for everybody on this call and in the school right now and say thank you for showing us what following your passion and recording it is all about. So thank you guys.
Thank you so much.
I agree with that too. Thank you guys.
Wow, powerful. Thank you guys for coming on. That was awesome. That was a great way to end the senior year in this quarantine and the Byram Blitz as a whole. Thank you all for coming on. That was awesome. So, wow, what an interview that was. And Jesse, give me your first thoughts on that.
Yeah, I mean, it really just shows the leadership qualities that everyone that was just on screen had. They all took it to a level that was more than sports and really realized how powerful getting together and teamwork and the bonds that you've built with each other can be even after sports. So I hope they continue with that same mindset through college, and they'll all do great things.
And I think what you saw is our grade. I think they're coming together right now. It's our senior year, but it feels like we have this forever bond that we have all experienced this crisis together. And I think we are all in this together. So with that, we just want to thank you once again, all of the fans here in our final Byram Hills Blitz. I hope you enjoyed it. And for the last time, go Byram.
And now let's take a look back at our best bloopers from the Byram Blitz.
Hello. Jesse, how are we doing today?
I'm great.
Go.
So,
okay, I thought we usually do a break, so I stopped.
Look a little flushed there.
Yeah, I'm really embarrassed. That's good. That was great.
thank you. I really appreciate it.
Okay.
Go.
I didn't do anything. That was hard.
Experience going into the postseason is a big advantage.
I'm Matthew Levy, and alongside is my co-pilot, of course, Jesse Schmoholt. Jesse.
Nope. Say my name?
Jesse Schmoholt.
That's perfect.
And today we have a special interview.
Sorry.
And today we have...
Hi. So we're in the middle of shooting a Byram Blitz right now.